Hey there, folks, and welcome to another episode of Crit Hit Interviews. I'm Arlyeon, and we are here today with Laureline Denise-Venaut, which I hope I didn't butcher that.
It's alright. That was hard. It's French, so it's more like Laureline Denise-Venaut, but
Denise-Venaut?
Yeah.
My accent is horrible at this point. I tries.
No worries.
But, to properly introduce her, she is both a writer and the community manager at Redlock Studios, who are the developers of Shattered: Tale of the Forgotten King, which some of you may recall I did a review for a while back. That said, before we get into just the thick of things with me asking questions about Shattered, I figure we ought to probably start things off in a more relaxed and chill manner to get to know our guest. So, just to start things off, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm Laureline, and I'm both a community manager and writer for Redlock Studio. I'm also one of the founders, actually, of the studio, so we kind of do, all of us, we do a lot of different jobs, not only the ones that, we are labeled for. And Shattered was my first game, and so I entered development like five years ago, something like that.
Huh.
And I've always been loving video games and stories, and I guess that's why I'm here.
So, you mentioned you're one of the founding members of Redlock Studio. How did you wind up meeting the others and becoming a member of the team?
That's a long story. No, that's not a long story. That's actually pretty short. I've known Maxime, who is the creative director and overall director of Arlyeon Studio, for like 15 years now. We were friends when we were teenagers. And Alric, the game designer as well. We used to play pen and paper RPGs.
Heck yeah.
Untied Nights. So we've known each other for a long time. And I actually didn't go to any like video game school or anything, but Maxime did, and in concept arts and 3D and so the likes. And well, he figured it would be nice to actually try to make a game like directly on our own without any help of bigger and I'm sorry, there are some work in my street that was super loud. I hope you didn't hear anything. Never mind.
That's what our beautiful editor is for.
Yeah, wonderful. So Maxime wanted to create a studio of his own, and so he gathered like some people that he met at school, and also some people that he knew before and who we thought were going to be, well, good picks, I guess. And he knew I've been writing like since I can, handle a pen. So, and he knew who I wrote, etc. So he asked me if I wanted to write games, and I was like, of course, I want to write games. Who wouldn't? And it was the same for Alric. Like he didn't go to any game design school, but he was super interested in that, and he was already taught himself, buying game design books, etc. So it kind of went really naturally. We decided to go for it.
I mean, that's pretty neat. Just to sort of branch off that, this is essentially how you got into game development, but since you basically said you learned from scratch, what sort of skills has game development required from you for you to learn, and how did you manage to cultivate those?
Yeah. Well, for my particular part of the job, like for writing, etc., I was already in literature studies, so it helped a lot. Well, I mean, I already knew, like the basic structures for stories, character arcs, etc. So I didn't have to really learn everything on that side. But on really, the pure development thing, we learned like really a lot of things. I guess the main thing was learning to work together as a team. First, when you're not all in the same place, because at the beginning we didn't have any building. What's the office? Any office? And pretty quickly. Sorry. After that, we realized it was almost better for us to work remotely. So yeah, there was a lot of communication skills. That was really not easy in the beginning because, like some people were kind of working on their things on their on their side, and then they just came up and were like, oh, no, it's like that. That part of the game, it's like that, and without any discussion or or anything. So at the beginnings were a bit difficult because we had to adjust like all of the workflow and work processes. Because we didn't know any better, so we really had to learn everything. That was, I guess, the main thing that we all learned together. But it's pretty alright now. I mean, we can see the progress really from nothing to now.
So did that mean like when it was during its initial stages, like you and the rest of the team were doing a lot of the QA?
Yeah. For a long time it was just us. And at the end, we had we were super lucky that we have an amazing community, like with a bunch of people who are super dedicated to the game, and like we really know them and they know us, etc. And they offered to actually help QA the game. So that's amazing. We could have like feedback from them every time we wanted to make an update, and that was amazing, really. We're really lucky to have them.
Yeah, fair enough. In that case, I suppose the next question just to ask is, so is there any sort of favorite genre of game or gaming that you have? Anything that sort of helped to mold your own taste in games?
Well, I guess I'm really into, tactical RPGs like Divinity, for instance. I guess it was like one of my favorite games ever for a long time. And also, there are some games that are not really, they can't be labeled in genre really, but they're an experience, I guess. And Journey was really important for, I guess, all of us, because we all played it like separately, and then we came back together and we talked about it, like randomly, and we were like, yeah, Journey was really something really amazing. And so that was a really big inspiration for making games in general, the fact that we could all feel so many different emotions playing the same game. And but also really foreshadowed, I guess you can see that in the art style a little bit. And in the moody atmosphere. Other than that, I would say like old games are really, an inspiration when you have to make them. So
yeah, that's fair. Is there anything you've been like diving into of late, and also any indie projects that you may have had your eye on?
Well, I'm super late, but I'm just trying Outer Wilds. But I'm just starting off Outer Wilds, that seems to be like to deserve really the success that it had. So I just started that. And in indie projects, I think you may have heard of it, but Death Trash is really like on my list. It's made by a solo dev, and he's been working with it. Yeah. I mean, he's amazing. Like, he also does his communications like perfectly. So he really knows how to handle like all the different sides of development when you're alone, and that's pretty impressive. And I think the game has some, Fallout 2 vibes with post-apocalyptical setting, and it really looks amazing. I think it's gonna be great.
Also, the Twitter's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, really, he really handles that so well.
Mm. This is sort of related, but given that Shattered has roots in tabletop and you played a lot of that, was there any pen or paper RPGs that you have a particular fondness for?
I guess I have to say Cthulhu
Ah,
because
Call of Cthulhu? Or Gumshoe
yeah. Well,
Cthulhu, because they're
actually
different.
no, it's not. Yeah, it's not Call of Cthulhu. It was like an earliest version of it, but at some point we were like, okay, we don't even need the game system. And we just threw the dice once in a while. But we kind of adapted all of the game system. But yeah, the all of the Cthulhu mythos was like our main setting for the sessions that we did.
That
And also Anima, I don't know if you heard of it.
I've played a little bit of it, but like the character generation I found a little bit daunting.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
also
guess.
made the mistake of playing a caster.
Oh, I know. I made the same mistake. But I think that pretty much comes from the fact that it's an American RPG, and I think that often like they do super heavy rules, for everything. Like you have to be a genius in mathematics to be able to know what kind of damage you're gonna do, and yeah, it's a bit much. But we also kind of adapted the rules on this one to make it like more fluid.
Streamlined.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I made the mistake of playing a summoner, and then I went, oh my god, what have I done? There's so much to track. Uh,
Yeah, I know. I literally did the same, and so at some point we were like, okay, we're gonna simplify all of this. We're just gonna say that you have like two things that you can summon, and and see how it goes, and that's okay. And yeah, that was much better. But
oh yeah, and I was using one of my other summons because I got an okay summon to help me basically with stuff I needed to summon anything else.
yeah, yeah, that's a lot of work for a gaming session.
Yep, yeah. Do you have any other hobbies though that you managed to just mitigate the stress from game dev things now that we're sort of talking nerd stuff?
Yeah, well, I do a lot of tabletop games still. Also, I read, I guess that's a hobby. I read a lot. And completely unrelated to everything else, so I dance.
Neat.
So yeah, that helps.
I do not have the coordination to dance. Well,
Well, you can learn if you want to. But
I technically I can do ballet, but I can do ballet for short bursts and then I trip over something. So it's like
yeah.
graceful wipeout. So I
Well,
don't dance.
is it not like the definition of contemporary dance?
Yeah, I
Maybe that's
guess
what
you're just supposed to like land the fall and make it look like you meant to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but no, I'm good.
I actually don't ballet at all. Like that's not the kind of dance I do, but I understand. Yeah, it's really difficult.
Like if there's any dance that I'd want to, I'd want to learn, it would have been swing, and that's not happening. Especially not during
Yeah.
COVID. It's not happening.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, you can. But yeah, swing. Yeah, looks really amazing. I'd love to.
Yeah, I guess other than that, the only little sort of introductory, odd little note I'd like to know is what's the origin of your studio's name?
No, that not yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the Red Lock is the name of a bar like that we invented in some of our endless RPG sessions. It's like of a place that is in every universes, in every stories. That's how we imagined it. There is a red door,
Wait.
and it looks like an old pub from the 20s, something like that. And yeah, it's the bartender is called Madame Lockhart, she's an entire character on her own. and yeah, when we were searching for a name, we thought that was the most logical, because we had so many stories that we wanted to tell in the beginning that we thought that's the place that links everything else in our universe, so yeah, we decided we'd go for this one.
A much smaller alcohol-fueled city of doors.
Yeah. That's that.
Yeah, for a second when you were saying that, I was like, wait, was the bar that was like in the one city meant to be like a small nod to that? But I was like, I don't remember a red door in there.
No. No, it's really from our RPG sessions. Like, it became our most emblematic place that we always came back to in between our sessions, to debrief what happened in our adventures, etc. So
yeah, no,
so that's it.
Fair enough. Anyways, I guess that's a pretty good little small background about things surrounding things. So I suppose I ought to ask you about Shattered at this point. For the viewer's sake, would you just care to describe your recent games, since some of the people that are going to be coming here won't be as familiar? I mean, it'll be on the screen, but...
Yeah, of course. Shattered is an action-adventure game with some RPG components, and I guess you could say like a deep narrative, lots of lore, and heavily inspired by Dark Souls in both the gameplay and the way that the narrative unfolds in the game. And you play a character called the Wanderer, who is like a masked character who can't speak and who has no memories of who he is or what's the universe he's waking up in. And so you have to try and discover what happened basically to you and to the world that you're entering. And yeah, that pretty much revolves around that.
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty accurate summation from what I went through. So, I suppose this question I'm going to ask in two parts, because from what I've gathered, there's a sort of font of things that inspired Shattered. For one thing, Shattered started as a pen and paper RPG, right?
Yeah.
So first off, is there anything you can tell us about the original tabletop RPG and how it evolved into a video game?
That's a tricky question. Well, we we had like different games in parallel, like that we were doing RPG sessions in different universes. Like basically we had one campaign in Cthulhu, one campaign in Anima, etc. But we were kind of playing like we wanted to link everything because we like meta, verbally about meta, meta stories, meta universes, etc. And so step by step, some of those universes became to like kind of merge, and so characters started to cross other characters in different universes, etc. Yeah, at some point, like it became kind of a whole entirely new game, with really our rules and our characters and the places that we knew, etc., etc. And the universe of Shattered like originated from that. It's like one of the story that we invented over the years, and it was not that much defined. Like it was more of a basic idea or even concept, that we had tackled a bit during our sessions, and we decided that would be a great beginning for us to dive into to write our first story for a video game. So we still had to write a lot of things that we didn't have thought of, etc., and refine all of the edges, etc., to make it a bit more understandable, which I'm not sure we really managed, but we tried. So that was kind of a side story to our main campaigns. But we thought that would be a better choice than to directly dive into our main campaigns to make a video game. Don't know if that was clear, but
I mean, so like, what was the epiphany moment where you guys sort of went, you know, this is what we want to make a game about?
yeah. Well, we searched like for a while to be like in the beginning. Shattered wasn't meant to be a full PC game. It was supposed to be called Dream, and it was supposed to be a mobile game. So much smaller scale, with less narrative, etc. So it was also less complicated. We were just like, okay, that's a great idea. It will be a nice universe, and we don't need to dive that much more into anything, to make it happen. And finally, we just realized first that none of us played mobile games, so it would be a bit weird, to make one when you have no idea actually what's going on in mobile gaming field, and also you don't actually like it that much. So yeah, so we were like, that makes no sense. We're not gonna make a game that we wouldn't play ourselves, that's stupid. So yeah, we decided to finally go for a PC game, and from that point, like, everything unfolded, and yeah.
So, even when it was supposed to be a mobile game, was it going to be a Souls-like, or were there other different iterations?
No, it was more going to be a platforming game, and you can find like traces of that in Shattered, since you have some small moments of platforming in Shattered.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like like a little bit narrative driven, but not that much platforming game. Yeah.
Huh.
Really, like, I think actually that was a good idea in the beginning to go for, a smaller game when it's your first. And yeah, finally we couldn't stick with that, and we were like, okay, no, we're gonna just make the game of our dreams, and never mind if we don't know how to do it, we're gonna try. So
fair enough. So moving on from that, you've already sort of touched on this a bit, but I had wanted to know things that, were there any specific influences that touched on the artistic style for the game? I believe you already mentioned Journey was one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. In games, there's also like Soul River, Legacy of Kain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. And for the gaming part, I could say a bit of Shadow of the Colossus also. Like, we really liked how you feel super small in super wide environments, but yeah, in the end that was not that much in the game. But there are also some external artists like Peter Mobasha. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it actually, but he's like an illustrator who makes amazing portraits of character, like, and kind of angels characters, but not really how you think of it, like not really humanoid.
You mean like the classic actual biblical angels that look like monsters?
Yeah, more of that, really. And like he invented a bunch of them. Like, you have the angel of rain, the angel of fire, etc., etc. And yeah, his work is really amazing, and that was a really big inspiration.
Huh. Okay, we've covered things like sort of the narrative roots and sort of the genre roots and the art, but what was the hardest challenge when making Shattered?
Other than the fact that it was our first game and that we had to learn how to work together, etc., as I said before.
I mean, that'd make everything a challenge, but then what was the hardest?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's completely related, but the fact that we went for a very ambitious game, I have to tell you a bit more about the beginning, like the creation of the studio. In the beginning, like, we were supposed to be 15 people to make that game, because as I said, Maxime was in a video game school, and so he met a lot of other students that were super interested in making a game and a studio with us. And so in the beginning we were like 15, so we also kind of planned things like the scale of the game, thinking that we would be 15 people making it. And actually it didn't go that way at all, which is nobody's fault. I mean, like, that was really, really hard to make a game while, making studies or having a job in the beginning, etc. But so some people like realized it was too hard and they couldn't do it. And so pretty quickly it went down to 8 people and then 5. And so like the game we thought we were gonna make with like 10 more people, finally we were just 5 newbies basically. So rescaling everything, that was a very big challenge, like rescaling everything down without losing what we wanted to say with the game and what we wanted to deliver, like as an experience, as a gaming experience. That was really, really hard. And I guess that also explained like some of the things that you can find in the games that are a bit weird. That pretty much comes from that.
Which, I mean, yeah, no, this is perfect segue into this, but just speaking of weird, what's your favorite bug as far as unintended exploits or silly results? For instance, one of the things I really liked doing was using the aerial sword attack to like negate falling damage, but also to use it to surf down inclined hills.
Yeah, this one was good. Well, it's pretty simple, but I laughed really, really hard. At some point, the Wanderer just like entered like the ground, and he was like all over, his shoulders, just his shoulders were above the ground, his shoulders and head, and like a little bit of Iyak on his shoulders, and he was just, walking like that.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, that happened sometimes. There was also a time where he was like completely on the ground, like lying on the ground, but still going forward, like still.
Okay,
still
I've
moving,
not seen that.
No, I think this one never made it into the game. Hopefully, like it was just for us. But yeah, like fighting a Demiurge like face down, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, no, the first one I managed to do that you mentioned, but like I just hopped and then it fixed.
Yeah.
But no, I never saw that second one, and I'm a little bit sad now because it would have been great to like do a charge attack and see if like it would have just been the body floating in the air doing the charge attack.
Yeah, that was that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that was nice. Really.
Okay, so this is more towards like the game and in its current state, but recently there was a post on the game stating that it was essentially finished, so you were going to continue patching bugs. Are there any noteworthy ones you're looking to crush right now? And for the speedrunners in the audience, are there any that you guys are going to be leaving intact specifically for them?
Yeah. No, I think in terms of bugs, like we're only just focusing on small ones that are not, game crushing. I mean, I don't think there are still any game crushing bugs in the game. It should be alright by now. But no, for the few bugs that are used by speedrunners, we intend to leave them that way. They politely asked for us to, so so yeah, we're going to leave what's left of them.
I'll still be able to skate around on my sword. Sweet.
Yeah, I think you will. No, I can't say for sure because we're not entirely full-time on Shadowed now, so I think we're still gonna make maybe another bug fix patch notes, but yeah, it's pretty much all done at this point.
Which that brings me sort of to my next thing, and there's been a few allusions towards content not making it into the final game, and I'm curious if you could go into details on some of these elements just so the audience can find out what could have been.
Yeah, well, you can kind of go on our Kickstarter page, because the project at the beginning was supposed to look really, really different. All the structure of the game was different. Like, there were supposed to be 12 demiurges, as I think you may have noticed. That's what EX tells you in the beginning. And also, there were supposed to be 3 different continents, like that you could. Perhaps we were not sure, but either roam from one to another, or just go, linearly from the first to the second to the third. But yeah, it was supposed to be like not necessarily wider, because with the ancient lands, I guess we kind of oh sorry, I'm losing my words. We made it like looks really, really wide, etc. But yeah, a bit longer, I guess. With more buses, and that didn't make it into the game. That's sad, but that's the things that we had to cut, to be able to make the game with 5 people and not 15.
Yeah, I think you can actually find like the remains of one of the dead demiurges.
Yeah. Yeah, we thought it would be like a nice, way of telling things. The idea was that when you arrive at that point, there was the Dark Wanderer that arrives and fights you, and so the idea was like the demiurge was killed by the Dark Wanderer just before you arrived, and that also, that can explain, that the other demiurges are not there anymore because someone else is taking care of them at the same time as you.
Yeah, no, and that also, I guess, brings the question of like, hey, so is it really the thing I should be doing right now?
Yeah, I know. It was also, it brings another problem.
No, it's a good nod. I like it. Cool. So I actually have a question from a viewer here, Grimoire DMD03. I just wish someone would have a name like Bob. He wanted to know if the door in Ramesses Castle was ever meant to be openable, or if it was always just intended as a teaser as to terrible things.
No, it was more intended as a teaser. Like, that's one of the few things that, were supposed to be this way in the beginning. So yeah, it's a teaser.
Yeah, I was just like at that door shaking it, being like, let me in! Let me in! Let me make my bad choice and fight it!
Yeah, I know. No, but you may have an explanation for that later.
Well,
yeah, I can't tell more, but...
Like, is that an explanation for it later that's currently in the game, or an explanation later that will come later?
That will come later, yeah.
This will tie into a question later, so I'll wait for that question. But in the meantime, do you have a favorite memory of just watching someone play Shattered?
Well, in the like when we could go to events and conventions and etc. There was a guy with a horse mask, and he just went and sat for like an hour and played Shattered with his horse mask, and that was hilarious. But other than that, I guess like every time a streamer tries the game and like it feels like he or she really likes it, that's pretty amazing feeling for us to see someone just enjoying your game, like, because it's really super stressful when you launch the game, especially I guess for the first time. Like you really don't know how people are gonna understand it and if they're gonna enjoy it. So really just seeing someone enjoying themselves while playing it's amazing.
Yeah, no, that makes plenty of sense. So this more or less ties back to the thing we just mentioned. But so while folks have stated that Shattered is finished, it ends with a stinger. At least one of the endings ends with a stinger. Geodesist.
Yeah.
Alluding that there's more to come. Given the narrative-oriented elements of the game, I wouldn't be surprised to find out if some of these story elements will come in the form of prose or comics or the like. Is there any word on that? Is it...
Yeah, well, yeah. you kind of got it. It's like it's in the plans, really, but we don't know when we'll be able to like make it really happen. But it's in the plan, and we're pretty much sure that we'll make it at some point, and we hope it will be soon. But we can't say for now.
So could you at least currently say like the sort of format that it will that is planned for?
Well, it could be a pen and paper RPG game. Since we come from that, so it would be like really a dream to make one of our own. But yeah, pretend I didn't say anything.
I mean, I'm just happy because that's like two games that I enjoyed narrative elements of, making pen and paper RPGs in short order, so I'm just happy.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah, I was like curious about that because it's like, is it going to be like a lot of things? And I'd overlooked pen and paper RPG, but it makes so much sense because I was just like, is it going to come in like a little set of prose stories or a lot? Because like all the memorams, when you take them together, it's like there's good writing there. I'm just like, are they going to make like a short story or a comic or something? So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, I'd like to give a shout out to Mark, the translator of the game, because like he went from a really super heavy prose literary French so that's quite complicated, to the version that you played in English, and it's really amazing. So yeah, he did an amazing job.
Yeah, no. I had everything I said in my review, and I was just like, no, I really liked the prose in there, so I was hoping to see some element of that to continue the game forward. So is it strictly going to be for the continuation of things to be in this, hopefully, this TTRPG release, or is there also going to be other things like accompanying bits of prose, short stories, or comics along with, or is that going to be just contained in?
Yeah, well, I think it will be contained in the book.
Okay.
So, you still have, like, it's a book, so you can put little stories, etc. in it, and yeah, we really like reading books, etc. So yeah, we'll probably put novels or
the little
bits.
vignettes.
Sorry?
The vignettes, like I love that about the old school Call of Cthulhu books and other RPG books. You have little short stories between mechanics that introduce things, but also like if you read them, it's like, oh, it tells a story about one really unfortunate guy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a French RPG. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called in French Les Chroniques des Féals. So I guess Féals Chronicles, something like that.
I thought you said faire, but fier?
It's like, yeah, Féals, something like that.
Huh.
I'm not sure how it would be translated in French. Yeah, but it does that really, really well. Like you have, the rules, descriptions for characters and cities, etc. And in between, you have little stories that are super well written, and that gives really a whole atmosphere to everything. That's great.
Me just trying to quickly search this up.
Yeah, I'm really not sure it was translated actually.
I don't know. I could
not. Yeah. Never mind. We'll make later stories in between the pages.
But yes, now that I've got that out of the way, and man, I'm so happy to know that, I have a little bit of a spoiler question here, and this is my signal to my editor to please, for the love of God, put a timestamp where we currently are, and also just like let people know when the spoiler question is done. Because right now, I want to ask, is Yak dead?
Yeah, I guess why you would ask that. Okay, how can I answer that? There is a memorandum, like in the end of the game, that explains who was or is Yak and what role he played, like, you know, in all of the events that led to where the universe is at the point where you play, you know, the game. So
I don't know if I got it or not, because I feel like I got most of them, but...
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, of course, it's not super obvious, but it talks about the characters that was, you know, whispering things at the ear of some important other character, and so it's talking about Yak and giving some information about, yeah, what type of role he played in all of it. And for is he dead? Well, I think that's up to you to decide.
I mean, he's definitely. I don't think he was getting a good warm hug of. It's been a long time, buddy. Good to see you. That no, no.
Yeah, I know. No, but there are like. We had some of the, you know, the people from our community who helped us with the QA, etc., who like really tried to understand all of the stories super hard, and they came up with theories that were really good, actually. And so we thought it would be, it's cool, like, that people can make theories that are, you know, not so far from the truth, like, I mean, the truth that we imagined, but not exactly that, because, you know, like, it's cool, actually, that people can kind of make their own stories on the base of...
Honestly, I just found it really wild for when you find, like, some of the memorums that you can talk to people about it, but those opportunities to talk to them about certain things are, like, completely missable, because it hinges on you finding these memorums and then talking about them. And sometimes you'll have, like, multiple choices. It's like, do I ask them about this? Do I ask them about this?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that could have been, like, really clearer, but yeah.
A part of me had been really hoping for New Game Plus, just because I was going to be like, I wonder what happens if I asked about some of these things a lot earlier on than I should be.
Yeah.
Just zip through and get dialogue.
Yeah, it changes things a bit, but not that much, to be honest. Well, like, it depends which character you're talking about. Like, Nai has really two very different endings, depending on, you know, what you do with her. And yeah, I think you're referring to Bhakti. Bhakti also has two different endings, but it's not like a drastic, you know, difference. So you didn't, like, miss a whole part of the game.
I mean, also, a part of me was just like, I wonder what would happen if I showed a whole bunch of these people the Apocrypha.
Yeah.
New Game Plus, why do you have that? Wait, what's in here? Oh no.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's up to you to, you know, like, yeah, what you want to show them and what you want them to remember, maybe, or...
Yeah, no, I think that was the primary reason I'd been hoping there was a New Game Plus and it let me keep memorums, is because, like, that would have opened up so much narrative weirdness if it actually acknowledged that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, we thought about New Game Plus, but that's, like, really a lot of work, and we still come back to the same problem. But since it's the first time that, you know, or it's our first game, so making a New Game Plus would have also meant learning everything about it while making it. So that's doubling the time.
Oh yeah, no.
Tech. So maybe, you know, in the future we'll try to integrate that, but, like, from the beginning, really, so that we know how much time we're gonna have to take to learn everything about it, etc. But yeah, no, that was difficult for our first game.
So yeah, I guess that sort of brings me down to the final question about Shattered as it currently is. And at this junction, are there any other plans for it? Whether it's console releases, potential DLC, yeah.
DLCs, we're not sure. Like, we wanted to, but it's also complicated. So as of now, I would say no DLCs. But for the consoles release, we'll have some news very soon. So yeah. Yeah, I can't tell more, but like, because we're working with some other people from another company that are helping us in that matter. Since we don't know how to port a game to consoles since it's our first game, so we are learning. But so yeah, the info kind of depends on them. So for the moment, we can't say anything, but soon we will be able to say.
Any OST releases?
Yeah, that's also coming with all of the Kickstarter rewards that were a bit late, and so the OST is one of them. And so as soon as it's ready, we're gonna put it like probably on Spotify or I don't know.
Like there will be options for people who didn't just Kickstart though to also be able to like spend money to go and like get it.
Yeah, we're not sure, but we're gonna try, because like I think it's a bit complicated. Like in France, like there are a lot of administrative things to go through to be able to sell items, like to the USA or to other continents. So yeah, we would really like that, but from where we stand now, it seems like really a whole lot of work. But yeah, that'd be amazing. Like we'd really love to.
Okay. So I guess now that we've tackled most of this, I think this covers the main theme pretty well. Are you guys working on any projects that are a bit hush-hush? And is it tied to the Shattered universe? First off, we tackled some of this. We know there's something, hopefully, coming. But is there anything else you guys are currently working on?
Yeah. and I'm not supposed to really talk about it, because it's like super early stage of anything. But it's kind of related to the Shattered universe, just because, as I said, we're really into meta stories, etc., meta stuff in general, and we like when things make sense together, like all together. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there will be like links to Shattered and like little nods, and yeah, and I think if you have definitely if you play Shattered, you'll definitely get some things, some little things that people that didn't play Shattered won't necessarily see. But yeah, that's all I can say.
Hey, fair enough. Otherwise, are there? I guess that's also the hints you could have provided us. I'm just like, is there anything else you'd just like to share with the audience at this juncture then?
Well, I guess thanks for listening. Since that means you're interested in Shattered, so that's amazing. And I'd say that making games as independent creators is like really hard. In like all of the ways you can imagine. It's really super hard. So I mean, supporting indie devs by just buying their games and talking about it, it's really cool. It's really amazing, and that's what helps have a very wide diversity of games, and that's amazing. And so support your indie devs.
Hey. Which, speaking about that, for the folks here, you can buy or wishlist Shattered Tale of the Forgotten King on Steam. There'll be a link in the description. There's also Redlock Studios on Twitter, at Redlock Studios. They also have a spiffy website that you can check out, and that's over at shatteredking.thegame.fr. I'm just also going to put a link to that for anyone who doesn't want to just type that into the address bar. I don't blame you. Is there anywhere else you'd like to send people?
I don't know.
Did I nail it?
Sorry, what?
Did I nail it?
Yeah, I think you you pretty much nailed it. Like, yeah, we have an Instagram, but whatever. I mean, Twitter is much more. It's better, like, for games.
As soon as you said I had an Instagram, I just pictured, like, the Wanderer having a selfie with the Dark Wanderer, and then the next thing is just, like, the Wanderer dead with a sword sticking out of them.
Yeah, that'd be great, actually. We should make that.
Oh, please do. Please do. I can use this as my thumbnail.
I'll ask the illustrator, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me know. I will literally delay this just long enough to have that as the thumbnail.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you know if that's possible or not.
Beauty. Okay. Anywho, I'd just like to say a thank you first off for you for just coming on here onto the show and dealing with me, asking all these questions and all my nerdy stuff. Je vous apprécie, Laureline.
Ooh, merci beaucoup. No, but that's great. Like that's really nice to, answer questions about like a game you spent 5 years making. Like that's cool to hear that people are really interested in the lore, etc. So thank you.
And yeah, beyond that, I guess I'd just like to say thank you to all the viewers for tuning in. And if you folks have any questions about Shattered that were left unanswered or just some thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comments. You can also check out the Shattered Discord. I forgot about that, but I remembered there's a Shattered Discord. You can check that out too.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how I could forget that as well, but yeah, please come.
Yeah, you can ask questions about the game, and if I know anything, I'll answer or potentially just forward it on. Otherwise, if you have an interest in supporting my efforts to create new indie reviews, interviews, and gaming content, hit the subscribe button. It helps. It really does. Also the bell, so you know when there's a new release. There's also a Discord, this one being my Discord, the Crit Hit Cauldron, which is all about indie gaming. There's also a small indie dev community in there. And there's tabletop stuff very occasionally. COVID killed most of it, but one day. That said, I'll catch all you folks on the next episode of Crit Hit. Take care till then, folks.